We will go ahead and get started. It is 2 o'clock on December 27th, 2022. This is our regular scheduled business meeting, and I'm calling this meeting to order. In attendance are Commissioners Brooks, Duncan, and Filios. And if you would please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. And now we'll go with the Pledge of Allegiance. Greg, would you lead us since you made eye contact?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, who just joined us?
Tom Reed.
Hi, Tom.
Tom Reed.
Yep,
Hello.
I hear you. All right.
Okay.
Changes to the agenda. Okay. I just have one, and I would ask that item 20 be tabled to have some more information with that. I know council has requested that outside counsel be consulted on this, and I would like time to pursue that.
I think we've had all the input we need.
Chris?
Chris?
Okay, is item 20 F-port?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I don't know what additional information is required. It's a straightforward lease. As far as the business model is concerned, we can worry about that later. I don't think we necessarily have to make a decision on that basis today. I'd leave it alone.
So
leave it on. It's a lease.
We sign a 25-year lease with, we don't care about the business model. And besides that, it's a bare bones lease that not only is our inside counsel, but outside counsel has said that probably shouldn't be bare bones.
I don't know what that means. Be more specific.
You've been in all the email, you've been on all the email chains. So I don't know
Yes.
if Dave wants to weigh in or not.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what Dave has to say. I mean, when you say bare bones,
The county's
how
not
much is,
protected. The county is not sufficiently protected. Not only that, but in the due diligence process, if the county finds that there is significant reason to not continue, there is no out for the county. There's only an out for the leasee.
okay, how would that... Go ahead.
Would you, if you like me, I'll just weigh in on my little piece of this.
Sure.
I'll be careful not to disclose any client confidential information or anything like that. But I initially reviewed the lease and had some concerns, and I think we've worked some of those concerns out in light of the FAA's commentary about exclusivity. However, outside counsel at Kaplan Kirsch, who is, I'm going to say, an expert on these types of commercial service agreements that airports enter into with FBO, commercial service providers, where I am not. He has commented, and I think you all saw the comment, that he's concerned that this lease is kind of simplistic because this lease is our standard lease that we offer for hangars and, kind of every other sort of leasing situation. This is not a typical situation. I have not been involved in the process, as I'm usually not, in the negotiations between the airport director and the provider, Avports. So it's really not up for me to say whether or not the current agreement really captures the intent and scope of the agreement, because I don't know if it does. Like I said, I was presented with something after the fact, and that's usually the way it is. and it is this case as well. So having said that, I have to defer. I think I have an ethical obligation to defer to expert counsel who is familiar with these types of commercial service provider agreements regarding airports, and say I'm going to defer to his advice when he says that this agreement maybe is bare bones is really, I think, the best way to describe it. And I guess if I'm going to defer to him, and when he says it may not really represent what the parties intend, it may not protect the county in the best way possible, but I don't think we know what that means exactly, because we have the county, the board has not engaged outside counsel yet. So my position is to protect my client, I'm deferring to outside counsel, and I would suggest that the board at least engage outside counsel for the purpose of investigating what other type of agreement may be available to protect the county in the best way. So
Okay.
That's all I have to say. Yep.
No, and I appreciate it. Can I hear from Stephen? Because, Stephen, you dealt directly with Kaplan Kirsch.
I did, Commissioner Stephen Carroll for the record. I did, and I saw the agreement that Kaplan Kirsch is specifically referring to, and I actually have significant issues with it. Partly, one of the main issues is that it cost in excess of $2 million. And I don't think it protects either party, just from my read through it. I think it actually is worse than our agreement. And that's a completely different agreement and situation, because it is Tweed New Haven, where the Avports is building a terminal, expanding the runways, doing a lot more work than what this is. This is a simple ground lease, and if they're going to build a facility.
So you're telling me that the only lease that outside counsel can help you with or look at is one that they've already prepared?
There are others out there. For Propeller in Seattle or area was a simple ground lease as well. So there are other options too, but as I've said before, I'm comfortable with this, with the modifications we're planning on making to our minimum standards, this lease. I don't think that it's worth that I'm concerned about it.
I also.
So where is the risk?
Go ahead.
Specifically, where's the risk to the county?
That's going to take a lot longer time than we have here with 60 agenda items. The other questions that have not been answered is, what is the financial responsibility of the county? Because we have to hire more staff, there is more security needed. So these are all costs that the county's going to incur, and I'd like to know what those are before we entertain this lease. That is for 25 years, and then an additional 25 that's contemplated.
Okay, so the question that I have is, if there are, excuse me, additional costs that we're going to be confronted with, why can't that be addressed later?
So you're obligating the citizens of Kootenai County to money that you don't know how much it's going to be, you don't know where it's going to come from, but you're okay with that?
Well, these people are signing a lease. When somebody signs a hangar lease, I have to assume they have the asset and the cash flow to make the payments. I don't know why this is any different. If their business model fails, do we not have an out? Stephen, can you answer that?
If they fail to pay us, we terminate the lease, and that's the process forward. If this succeeds, we will charge additional airport landing fees to commercial operators. We'll make additional revenue from car rentals. We'll make a significant amount of money from other operations on the field. Additionally, if there's anything beyond what we do today, Avports will be responsible for the security of for example, in Seattle, Propeller, which is the company that operates that terminal, is responsible for the security of that. We're not. The airport isn't.
I'd like to see it left on for today, and should be a good discussion.
All right,
I would agree. Leave it on. Leave it on.
would take a
It's
motion
my
for
take.
meeting minutes. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, thanks.
Meeting minutes?
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. I move that we approve the meeting of minutes 1 through 3.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye, motion passes. Approve consent calendar.
I move that we approve the consent calendar, items 4 through 60. No, that's not 4 through 4 through 9.
wishful thinking.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye, motion passes. Payables list.
I move that we
I
approve.
can handle this.
Okay, handle
Okay,
it.
go ahead, Bill. Okay, I move that we approve the payables list for the week December 19th through 23rd in the amount of $508,352.22, in addition to jury panel payments of $29.95 and 23 cents. End of motion.
I second the motion.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye, motion passes. Item 11, this is a contract signing, and it is for our 911 uninterruptible power supply or power source replacement with Insight Public Sector. Mr. Mallory, please.
Thank you, Commissioners. Alan Mallory for the record. We recently put out for an RFP to replace our UPS system at the 911 center. We only received one bid. We had it reviewed, we had legal look at it, and we would like you guys to accept the contract and award it to Insight. Legal said that their terms of service and condition agreement that they had posted and their signed RFP would be enough to meet the requirements for the contract to be awarded. And we have a grant that was already awarded to us, which is more than what the bid was. So I bring forth your consideration to accept that contract, and we award it to Insight.
All right, questions or motion?
I move that we approve contract 911 UPS replacement with Insight Public Sector, Inc.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye, motion carries. Item 12, financial budget, Athol Rural Site paving request with our solid waste department and our director, John Phillips.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. John Phillips for the record. The Solid Waste Department recently solicited quotes from 4 different vendors for some minor dirt work and a paving project at our Athol Rural Collection Site. 2 quotes were received after giving vendors a month to respond. Coeur d'Alene Paving solicited the lowest priced quotation at $163,850 to perform all work. The Solid Waste Department requested the BOCC sign and accept the quote from Coeur d'Alene Paving for the work at the rural site, thereby giving the department permission to move forward with having Coeur d'Alene Paving perform that work. These procedures were reviewed by Jamila Holmes for solicitation of quotes, and the department does have the funds and did budget for this work.
Okay, questions or motion?
I move that we approve the solid waste department solicited quotes from 2 of the companies for the Athol rural site to CDA paving and concrete and excuse me, interstate concrete and asphalt. End of motion.
Chris, it's only one. It's just Coeur d'Alene Paving. We're not going to pay double for this project. It's just awarding it to Coeur d'Alene Paving.
Yep. that's-
Okay, so is it only the 163,000? Is that what we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll amend the motion to indicate that it's a single contract in the amount of $163,850.
I second the motion.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Item 13, Development and Ground Lease, AAL 2022-2200, Hangar Development, Timberland Construction Services, LLC. And Kim or Stephen? All right, Kim?
Thank you, Commissioners. Kim Stevenson for the record. This is a development and ground lease for Timberland Construction, 16,800 square feet. That will produce an annual revenue of $3,813.60. They had project costs for taxiway Delta 1 Alpha of just under $29,000 that have been paid in full.
Okay. So I'm hearing the auditor is in agreement. Okay.
Correct, yes. I was just on the phone with Brandy before we started the meeting.
Okay, great. Because I did notice on page 2, item 6, it said that it was supposed to be paid no later than August 19th, 2022. But yeah, we're signing the lease in December. So glad that it's paid.
Yes.
All right. And questions or motion?
I move that we approve development and ground lease number AAL 2022-2200, hangar development with Timberline Construction Services, LLC.
Second.
Commissioner Filios.
Aye.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion carries. Item 14, lease addendum to AAL 2020-601, and it's adjusting project costs, CDA Jet Center. Kim, is this you again?
It is. Kim Stevenson for the record. This is a lot that is at the corner of Gulfstream Road and Atlas Road, and the reason for the reduction in the utility cost is that they had the option to pull utilities from Atlas Road, so we have reduced the costs by half, and the $55,961.07, we should have revenue over expenses in that amount in order to cover those costs this year. And if need be, the costs would be made up in rent in 2 years, if you want to look at it that way as well.
Okay, Stephen, you have something to add?
Part of this issue is when Stancraft initially developed this site, they actually did not show pulling utilities from the Gulfstream Road infrastructure project. So they could have argued that they should have paid nothing. We eventually, and we actually forced them into a redesign because of it. And there was part of an issue that they have been bringing up continuously for 6 to 8 months about, well, we didn't need to come through here, we could have continued to pull off of Atlas. It was a conversation, is this a fair solution?
Okay, so then the county is going to eat the other $55,000.
With this adjustment, yes.
Okay, and then the document also says it's dated October 31st, 2022, that they need to pay in full by then. So have they paid?
I don't recall. Kim would know that better than I do.
Okay. Kim, do you know if they've paid? I don't think the auditor shows that in their record.
Correct. At this point, they haven't paid, but I know that the lessee was waiting for the addendum to go through, and then would issue payment on that.
Okay. Is it possible to get that date changed? I mean, Dave, does it matter that the addendum is dated that they have to have the payment in by October 31st, 2022, but yet?
It also says paid in full within 5 business days of the BOCC signatures.
So, Dave, is that sufficient?
Yeah, I think if it's clear that it's paid after BOCC signs, then I think that trumps the other term,
Okay. Questions or
if
motions?
I'm understanding correctly.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Bill, take the motions. It's easier for you since I'm fighting a cough. Thank you.
I move that we approve the lease addendum AAL 2020-601, adjusted project costs with CDA Jet Center LLC.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion passes. Item,
Chris, just cough once for yes and twice for no.
item 15. Ground lease AAL 2022-410. This is the ramp, and it's CDA Jet Center LLC. Kim?
Thank you. Kim Stevenson for the record again. 15 and 16 are kind of related. We don't need to put them together, but they are related. Initially, when we terminated the resort aviation leases, this one was left off. We had a disparity in the numbers, and that's because the lessee wanted to separate that ramp into two sections. One section that was related to the FBO that contained the fuel tanks, and then another section that was not related to the FBO. So Coeur d'Alene Jet Center, the 55,069 square feet, is related to the FBO. It's exclusive use of the ramp. It brings this to market value. So $14,538.21 will be the annual revenue from this lease.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve ground lease AAL 2022-410 ramp / CDA Jet Center LLC.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Item 15, ground lease AAL 2022.
16.
16.
Sorry, no, I have 15 for 2022-410 ramp CDA Jet Center.
That's number 15.
Okay.
Yeah, 14 was the lease addendum. 15 was ground lease 410. 16 is ground lease 400.
That's weird that my agenda is different. Oh, I see what you guys are saying. Okay, yeah. She said don't handle them together. So, yep, 16 is 2022-400, triple flight. Okay, Kim?
Okay, Kim Stevenson again for the record. So this is the other section that does not contain the fuel storage on it. Again, exclusive use of the ramp, bringing it to market value. This section is 55,214 square feet for an annual revenue of just this section, $14,576.49.
All right, questions, motion?
I move that we approve ground lease AAL 2022-400 ramp / triple flight LLC with the airport.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion passes. Item 17, this is AAL 2022-700, and this is a hangar purchase with Triple Flight LLC. And Kim, please.
Kim Stevenson for the record. This is the final piece of the resort aviation. This is a non-exclusive section of ramp. I apologize, it says hangar purchase, but it is actually ramp space. 103,611 square feet. Again, non-exclusive use brings the lease rate down to 11 cents per square foot, and this will be an annual revenue of $11,397.21.
Dave, is that okay that it's stated differently on the agenda?
Well, it is a lease and it has the correct lease number with the correct party, so yeah, I think it's okay.
Thank you. All right, motion, questions?
I move that we approve lease AAL 2022-700 with Triple Flight LLC.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye, motion passes. Number 18, change order number 4, Gulfstream Road with La Riviere Inc. and our airport. Stephen?
Commissioner Stephen Kiro for the record. This is the last change order for the Gulfstream Road project. It is a reduction of $26,864.56. It's due to TO going through and actually doing quantities during the actual construction observations. So during the packet, you can see where they actually had reductions during install. There's a decent amount of reductions done, but this is just a change order to reduce the contract amount by that amount.
Okay. Questions? Okay, motion?
None.
I move that we approve change order number 4 for Gulfstream Road, La Riviere Inc. and the airport.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye, motion carries. Number 19, this is additional services authorization number 3, Gulfstream Road and Utility Extension TO Engineers. And once again, Director Kiergaard.
Stephen Kiergaard for the record. This is a additional service for Gulfstream Road again with TO. This is an amount of $9,000. Due to the original contract only being 41 days, we are now at 97 calendar days for this project. It has taken far more time for TO to be able to do any on-site observations. All that's left is the final closeout of it though. So we should be nearly done with this. It's one of the items of, do we want a closeout report and everything or not?
Okay,
So, and final designs.
sure. We also had an extension, but was that for something different in the last couple weeks? Or this is the second extension?
This is a second extension.
Gotcha. Okay,
This has taken far more longer than both TO and I ever thought it should have.
sure. All right, questions or motion?
I move that we approve additional services authorization number 3 for Gulfstream Road, a utility extension with TO Engineers.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan,
Aye. All right, we're on to item 20, Development and Ground Lease AAL 2022-2800 Lease Agreement, Avport COE LLC. Stephen?
Commissioner Stephen Kierkegaard again for the record. This is a ground lease for the development of a commercial use terminal passenger terminal and apron with Avports Inc., or excuse me, COE LLC. It is approximately 15 acres, or about 645,000 square feet. The amount is $183,000 per year. With our standard, anything over $1 million, we do a 50% reduction for the first year. They do have a requirement to start construction, as we do with any of our leases, that they have to start within a year. And there are some other caveats that are a little bit different than we do normally, such as an expansion trigger. If they do meet our expansion trigger as described, they would be required to, we have the right to require them to build a new facility to meet the demands of the public at that time. So there's those items. And any other questions?
Bill, Chris, questions?
Yeah, is there any more information, Stephen, that you feel we need before we sign this? Any?
I feel like we are at 139 Airport. This is what 139 airports are meant to do is handle commercial service. We also did not search out Avports. They approached us as they felt this was a good opportunity for them, and that we have the space and abilities to accommodate them.
So is that a yes or a no?
I think this is a very good deal, a very good situation for the county and community.
Okay, thank you.
Chris?
Yes, Stephen, since the plan, their business plan calls for commercial service, are there, excuse me, any trigger points along the way where we can decide, no, we don't want to go down this road and we cancel the contract?
The biggest cancellation points there is they don't build, just as we do with everybody else. A one-year build cycle for a project of this magnitude is a very tough thing to meet. We had actually some conversations about whether they thought they could do it, and I said, that's not something I'm willing to do. So they have to start pretty quickly.
So it's about 18 months.
So they have some time, they have to start construction very quickly to do that.
So essentially,
basically, go ahead, Leslie.
go ahead, Chris.
So basically, they're committed to providing commercial service such that if we approve this lease, we're making a commitment that they can go forward with their business plan, and if everything goes as I presume they want it to go, they'll be offering commercial service.
Well, they won't. They'll be developing a facility to support that.
Well, yes. Right. So we're making, okay, let me rephrase it. So then we're making a commitment that this airport will provide commercial service.
Yes. But it could also find in 6 months that it doesn't work.
But it
Say
doesn't
that
get,
again?
If during their due diligence time of the site and of other factors, they may say that this doesn't work. If you know, it's looking at everything I've seen and the data that they've stated, I don't foresee that not happening. No.
and we have the data?
We do not have the data, but statements that they've provided.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is actually open it up to public comment at this point. Are there anybody here who wants to speak on behalf of item 20, which is the Avport COE lease? Steve, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner. Steve Anderson for the record. I'm not really sure where to start here. Probably the best place is that as a airport stakeholder and a board member on the association, this is the first time we've heard about this lease. It's a substantial lease, and it's not a typical ground lease in our opinion. The Airport Advisory Board was canceled for last month, which would have been the opportunity for us to hear their opinion and to have this item discussed, and therefore also to give the commissioners their opinion as to whether or not this was really an appropriate use of that acreage. I believe that this company is not committing to the commercial service, but they are committing to building a building. And once that building is built, the county is on the hook for several things, I think. And one need not look any further than the last airport that Stephen came from in North Dakota to see what the implications of having facilities that are not able to be used are. I find it concerning that it appears that Commissioner Filios and Commissioner Brooks are willing to go against the advice of your own counsel and not put this decision off because there are potentially impacts that haven't been considered, costs that haven't been considered for the taxpayers of Kootenai County. And that would be a huge red flag for me if I was sitting on the commission and my attorney said whoa, let's listen to the advice of the expert attorney that has familiarity with this kind of contracts, and at least step back a little bit and see what we're getting ourselves into. This company is primarily a services company. They do janitorial services, they park airplanes, they maybe run the airport fire and rescue equipment, that type of thing. They're not the people that are going to be the airline that comes in here and offers service to the county. Now, I've spoken to you folks before and said that there have been three commercial services operations that have tried operating here, with Spokane International being as close by as it is. Spokane International and the airlines that operate out of there are so easily able to outbid flight contracts between the regional places that we might be able to get service to, that it seems an exercise in futility to go back and look at this. And frankly, what this appears to me is that we've talked about Part 139, and I know Commissioner Filios and Commissioner Brooks have said, well, we've heard enough about that, but that's an expensive certification to keep, and it appears to me that this is primarily an effort by the airport director to justify continuing Part 139 certification. I have much more that I could say, but this is a lengthy agenda today. I think Commissioner Duncan has appropriately raised the concerns that ought to be considered prior to taking action on this item, and I sincerely hope that Commissioner Filios and Commissioner Brooks will heed some of what you've heard this morning, or this afternoon. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comment on this item? Go ahead, Frank. Is the light green?
Oh, it's red.
There you go.
Make it green.
Yeah, push it to make it green. There you
Very
go.
good, I've got it, okay. The name is Frank O'Connell, for the record. I'm a pilot and hangar owner at the airport. And my comments are in the form of some questions that I came up with this morning very first time I've ever heard about this, so I'll just quickly go through them for your consideration. Number one, on whose authority, that is, which elected official, was the due diligence on restoration of passenger air service undertaken? When was that done? I don't know. Had this proposal previously been vetted with the Airport Advisory Board? If not, why not? Had this proposal previously been vetted with the Board of County Commissioners? If not, why not? I'm assuming that, especially listening to Mr. Brooks, it already had been, but again, it's the first I've ever heard of it. I'd like to know which air carriers have been solicited or accepted for service to KCOE. What makes and models of aircraft have been identified as being acceptable for service? What would be the projected passenger counts? Have any studies, any cost-benefit analysis, surveys, public forums been done to gauge need for this in Kootenai County? What would be the arrival, departure routes and times? What neighborhoods would this impact going in and out of Coeur d'Alene? Is the Board of County Commissioners fully aware of our airport director's history with Williston, North Dakota, and what happened there and what was left behind when he decided to bail out in the middle of that project to come to work for us? With current economic considerations, and we all know where times are at right now, should this be given the lowest priority relative to other needs of the county? I know that finances are always a major concern, trying to find enough funding for all the departments that you have to support. With a full-service international airport 45 minutes away, does it make sense to duplicate what's essentially a cost-free service to the residents of Kootenai County right here? I found it strange that such a major proposal be presented at an 11th hour Board of County Commissioners meeting rather than be deferred to the new board. If this scheme fails, as Williston has already been demonstrated to have not been a success, how big a financial bag will the county be left holding? And I think, numbers need to be come up with for your analysis to decide if you want to take that risk. Finally, has the geography or the siting of KCOE been properly evaluated relative to the demands of commercial air service?
There's a reason that Spokane International is out at Airway Heights. There's a big air base next door. Most airports I know of don't have any residential developments nearby. Residents are rapidly encroaching on Coeur d'Alene from the west, and already to the east, there's a fairly crowded area in Hayden. So I would just close with saying, I think there's a lot more questions that are unanswered that need to be explored before any progress is made on this lease, so that a decision can be properly made. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is that it? Right. All right, if nobody else, then I would reiterate my concerns that I think that a better lease can be had in this situation with the people who do this. Doesn't have to be Kaplan Kirsch. We can look at somebody else. Also, the section in here, it's under 2D, the due diligence period. I would like to see the county be able to also use that clause for an out. If the citizens come and say that they don't want this, if the county can do that. Reasonably, one would think that Avports would get out if the citizens didn't want it, but I would like that extra benefit and guarantee. And I'm also kind of, Stephen, you can speak to this. Has the Airport Advisory Board been presented with this proposal? Okay.
They have not been shown this lease, no.
Okay. So, Bill, Chris?
I'm comfortable with it. I'm prepared to make a motion. I move that we approve the development and ground lease of AAL 2022-2800 lease agreement with Avports COE LLC. Chris?
Commissioner Filios, are you going to second or? Are you okay?
Well,
I'm sorry, I had my mute on. No, I'm not going to second. No, I'm fine. I did want to make a couple of comments. What I am going to second some of Leslie's comments and I think Mr. Anderson as well, in that, number one, I think the advisory board needs to take a look at this lease and weigh in. That's why we have advisory boards, number one. And number two, again, and I think I raised this at our earlier discussion, which is there has to be an out. Should we choose to honor it, and it won't be me, it'll be a future board, that if the residents are opposed to this, and the county commissioners, the then county commissioners, choose not to proceed, there's got to be an out. And I'm not convinced that that's adequately addressed. So I'd hate to see this put off, but I think those two conditions have to be met before we can proceed with taking a formal vote.
okay. All right. Then what I would say is direction would be bring this before the advisory board and have that section 2D also indicate that the county can also get out during that 180-day period during and after the due diligence. And we can.
Stephen, how much? I'm sorry, go ahead, Leslie.
No, go ahead, Chris. I was moving on.
Stephen, how much time do you need to address that second issue?
I'll have a conversation with Avports, and we'll see what they may request that if the county does that they get reimbursed for costs or something along those lines, though. Because if they've expended millions of dollars in their development costs and we suddenly say no, then they're going to probably request.
So there has to be some reasonable timeline with trigger points. As to the point that was made that this has been tried before and failed, excuse me, or didn't pass, Everything is a matter of timing. There are things that are ill-timed and don't work, and years or decades later they do. Apparently, there are plans to expand I-90, Coeur d'Alene to Spokane, and right now there's traffic almost constantly on that road. So I think the idea of commercial service is a good one, but I mean, it has to be shown that it's got a high probability of working. So let's see how fast we can move on this.
Okay, thank you. Item 21 is board approval request, transfer of funds from maintenance B budget to the maintenance C budget. And Tom, thank you for being patient.
No problem. Tom Reed for the record. This is a request to transfer funds for the maintenance B budget to the C budget in the amount of $614.60. And this is to cover taxes that were included on the purchase of a snowplow from Titan Truck.
All right, question, motion?
I move that we approve the request for transfer of funds from maintenance B to budget to C budget for the sheriff's office.
Second.
Commissioner Filios?
Aye.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye, thank you, motion carries. Thank you, Tom, for your patience.
Thank you.
Okay,
No problem. Thanks.
item 22, bus shelter engineering and design agreement for professional services with JUB. And Jody, are you going to be handling this?
Yes, this is agreement between JUB Engineers and Kootenai County for the design and engineering of a bus stop shelter design standard. The fee is not to exceed $10,500.
And this is just part of the budgeted project that's been ongoing?
Yes.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the bus shelter engineering and design agreement for professional services with JOB and the Resource Management Office.
Second.
Commissioner Filios?
Aye.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye, motion passes. All right, item 23, Riverstone Transit Center Phase 2, change order number 1 with Idaho Stage Construction and our Resource Management Office. Jody, go ahead.
Yes, this is, thank you very much. The RTC Phase 2 change order is for the installation of electric vehicle charging infrastructure at the Riverstone Transit Center. The total cost is $25,638.30, and these funds will be grant funds with the appropriate match already budgeted.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the Riverstone Transit Center Phase 2 change order number 1 with Idaho Stage Construction and the Resource Management Office.
Second.
Commissioner Filios?
Aye.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye, motion passes. Item 24, this is a grant application. It's FY23 CLG, which Jody, you'll have to remind me, something grant, obviously. Idaho State Historic Preservation Office, which is SHPO, for $1,500 in-kind match volunteer hours, and HPC budget is $2,200. So go ahead, Jody.
Okay, CLG is the Certified Local Government Type Grant. It's fiscal 23 grant application. The Historic Preservation Commission is seeking the board's approval to submit a grant application to SHPO for the development of an information pamphlet. The total federal share is $1,500. The match is $1,100 cash and $1,100 in kind. The cash match funds are budgeted with the HPC budget.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve grant application FY23 CLG with Idaho's Historic Preservation Office for $1,500.
Second.
Commissioner Filios?
Aye.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right, motion passes. Item 25, RV Park Phase 4, change order number 3 with Stewart Contracting, Inc. and our Resource Management Office handling. So Kim, are you going to handle this or did you want Jerry?
I wasn't sure if is Jerry present. Would he like to present, or I'm happy to do so.
Yeah, he's very happy if you present.
Okay, fine. So, Kim Riley for the record. This is change order number 3 with Stewart Contracting for installation of provide power for Wi-Fi at the southeastern Avista box.
And is it still within the total funds allocated for this project?
Yes, we still have funds remaining for this. This was one of the additional items that were approved in the budget.
Perfect. Thank you. Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve RV Park Phase 4, change order number 3 with Stewart Contracting, Inc. and RMO.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. And I'll just mention this is for the fairgrounds. It's probably self-explanatory, but let's put that on the record. Item 26, board approval request, bus stop improvements, retention payment, interstate concrete. And Jody, is this you or is Dorian going to handle this? I hear nothing. So somebody muted?
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
It was me. I was muted. I apologize. Jody Beasy for the record. The bus stop improvement retention payment is the final application for payment from Interstate Concrete and Asphalt in the amount of $12,231.68. Once approved by the board, the bus stop improvement project can be closed out.
Okay. Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve request for the bus stop improvement retention payment with Interstate Concrete and RMO.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Item 27, grant agreement, CLG 2021-05. This is the Cougar Gulch Study and Idaho Heritage Conference, Idaho State Historic Preservation Office, and the amount of $14,403.32 in-kind match of volunteer hours in the amount of $14,403.32. And Jody, please.
Yes, this grant agreement, CLG 2021-05, was revised by Idaho SHPO. SHPO extended the performance period from the 30th of September 2022 to 31 March 2023 and increased the federal share from $12,232 to $14,403.32. The agreement before you reflects these changes.
Okay, questions? Motion?
I move that we approve grant agreement CLG 2021-05 Cougar Gulch Study and Idaho Heritage Conference and the Idaho State Historic Preservation Office in the amount of $14,403.32 with an in-kind volunteer match and hours of $14,403.32 in our RMO office.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 28, revised agreement between Kootenai County and Lombard Conrad Architects, PC, for design of the Kootenai County Justice Building expansion and Resource Management Office.
Yes, the revised agreement between Kootenai County and Lombard Conrad Architects is a modification of the existing contract to add revised terms to meet federal funding requirements.
So federal clauses were added.
Yes, and other federal requirements, yes.
Okay. Questions? Okay, motion?
I move that we approve the revised agreement between Kootenai County and Lombard Contracting Architects PC for design of the Kootenai County Justice Building expansion, Lombard Conrad Architects PC and the RMO.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Nay.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion passes. Item 29, independent contractor agreement, and this will be with, I have the K-Books and our resource management office. Jody, would you like to handle this, please?
Yes, the independent contractor agreement between K-Books Financial Services and the Resource Management Office is for the financial administrative services. The annual amount of $72,000 will be paid on a monthly basis. In addition, the county shall pay one-time payment of $4,195 before 31st of January 2023.
Okay. And I'll just mention, because it's on the agenda as Kim Riley, but Kim Riley is K-Books at this point. So, okay.
As of the 1st of January, yes.
Yes. Okay. Chris, comments?
No, I have none. I reviewed the contract. I don't see any issues with it, and frankly, if it's acceptable to HR and legal, it's fine by me.
Okay. Bill? None?
I move that we approve the independent contractor agreement. What are you calling it?
It's just an independent contract agreement with, you can say K-Books, Kim Riley,
Okay.
both of them.
With RMO.
Second,
Commissioner Filios?
aye.
Bill Brooks?
No?
Chair Duncan?
Aye. Motion passes. Oh, I apologize. We have to go back and add a couple things to that motion. So, Chris, it's contingent upon signing by January 1, and we need to move A budget money to B budget. So, if you like, I'll make that motion, or how is it cleaner for you, Tina?
Yeah.
If you make a whole new motion, that would be best.
Okay, so I will make a whole new motion that we approve the independent contractor agreement with Kim Riley, DBA K-Books, and our resource management office, contingent that it is signed by Kim Riley by January 1 of 2023, and that the funds necessary are moved from A personnel budget to B operating budget.
Second,
Commissioner Filios?
aye.
Bill Brooks?
No?
Chair Duncan?
Aye, motion carries. All right, item 30, and James has been so incredibly patient. Master service agreement with FatBeam LLC for phone internet connection. And please, James, go ahead and lead us.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. James Martin from Information Technology. This is a request we entered into agreement with FatBeam LLC to provide 2 internet connections for our phone system. It'll greatly modernize our existing technology. And we would like a connection here at the admin campus as well as out of the sheriff's office for failover and redundancy. Once those 2 connections are in place, I plan to come back to you and ask that we enter into agreement with a company called G12 for dial tone service. And between G12 and FatBeam, I think we're going to have a much more stable telephone system platforms. So I believe the project will probably take about 6 months from beginning to end. And the money's been approved. There's actually a master service agreement we're asking you to sign, as well as a service agreement, which is the following agenda item.
Dave, can this be handled together, 30 and 31?
Yeah, as long as the motion's clear of what you're approving.
Okay.
And yes, that's the end of my request.
Will the additional services be cost, essentially?
There's monthly costs associated with them, but between the savings we'll make over and above what we're paying Verizon, we'll be able to more than make up for that going forward and covering that cost this year.
Okay,
Absolutely.
I guess that's what
There
my
is no
question
increase
is. There'll
in
be a
cost.
save. Yeah, perfect. Okay, if you guys are okay, I will take this motion. All right, I move that we approve the master service agreement with FatBeam LLC for phone internet connection and the service order request with FatBeam LLC.
I second the motion.
Second,
Commissioner Filios?
Aye.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much for your patience, James. Item 32, Uprise EAP contract renewal with Uprise Health and our Human Resources. Dorothy, please lead us.
Yes, Dorothy Cross for the records with Human Resources. This is a renewal of our contract with our EAP provider, Uprise Health. It is an increase. They're going from $1.75 per employee per month to $2.02 per employee per month. The total annual increase is $2,430.
Okay. Was this budgeted?
It is budgeted, yes.
Okay. Perfect.
I move that we approve the Uprise EAP contract renewal with Uprise Health and HR.
Uprise.
Second.
Commissioner Filios.
Aye.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you. And another very patient person on the phone. Number 33, contract with Westlaw Edge Migration, Thomson Reuters, and our prosecuting attorney, Civil Division, Pat Braden.
Yeah, Pat Braden, Civil Deputy Prosecutor for the record. This is actually for the all the attorneys in the prosecutor's office in both the criminal and civil divisions. It's our periodic renewal of our Westlaw contract. In this case, we actually we'll be moving to Westlaw Edge, which is a new product that Thomson Reuters has and is a significant upgrade from the current Westlaw Classic. The number of user licenses will remain at 30. The cost per month is just a little over $100 a month. And the current contract would lapse in September of 2023 anyway, and so by renewing early, we actually get a break on the price for upgrading to Westlaw Edge, as opposed to if we were to renew the contract for Westlaw Classic in September of 2023. So I think we're getting the best deal we can possibly have and getting an upgraded product reflecting the new technology Thomson Reuters has come up with for computer-assisted legal research. So I would request that you approve the contract. Oh, and one other thing is the contract in your packet was missing the non-appropriation clause that is necessary. While I was listening to the meeting, I was able to insert that language, and I sent it to Terry's email and to each of your emails. So that would be the contract I would ask you to sign if you were to approve this.
Thank you. So am I understanding, hearing this right, that it's $100 a month for 30 licenses?
No, the increase from our current contract would be $100 a month. Sorry, I was talking a little fast, so maybe.
How much is
it'll go from 6,000?
6,000 to 6,100.
Just wanted on the record. How much?
6209.49 to 6326.61.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Pat. All right.
You bet.
Any other questions?
I move that we approve contract with Westlaw Edge Migration / Thomson Reuters for the prosecuting and civil attorneys.
Second.
Commissioner Filios.
Aye.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right. Now we move on to. Thanks, Pat. Enjoy the rest of your vacation. Sorry to use your hour.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We are on to advisory board appointments. We've got one for noxious weeds, and I would probably ask that we handle all the APD ones together, then all the natural resource ones together, and on down to historic preservation. So right now we can just handle the one. This is an advisory board reappointment from, and I always get this wrong, is it Linda Ely or Eli? Ely? Sorry, Linda, don't mean to butcher your name. For noxious weeds reappointment, and her term would be expiring 12/31 of 2024. And the advisory board is happy to have her return.
Yes, I move that we approve the appointment of Linda Ely to the Noxious Weed Advisory Board with a term expiring 12/31/2024.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, motion is approved. All right, so now we have items 35, 36, 37, Advisory Board, and they are all reappointments to the Aquifer Protection District, and the terms expire December 31st of 2025. And so if there are no questions, I would take a motion that included all three names in those three agenda items.
Okay. I move that we approve the advisory board appointments of Christy Johnson, Lisa Kiersdorf, and Susan Scheid.
Yeah,
Right.
you're,
Yep.
That's the way it's pronounced.
okay. Chris says yes, so then we're good.
For terms expiring December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right. Thank you. Motion passes. And now we'll go on to Natural Resource Advisory Board. And these all three are reappointments as well. And if you're all right with handling those three again together, I would take that motion.
I move that we approve the appointment of Linda Ryder, Chris Schempf, and Wayne Wankener.
Walkinen.
To the Natural Resource Advisory Board with terms expiring December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion carries. And now we've got one more, and this is Historic Preservation, and it's items 41 and 42. And we have Courtney Beebe and Russell Brown. And once again, these are also welcomed back by the Historic Preservation and both reappointments.
I move that we approve to the advisory board the reappointment of Courtney Beebe and Russell Brown for terms that expire December 31st, 2025.
Second.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 43, financial budget. This is fund balance transfer request and our county assistance handled by our Chief Deputy Clerk, Jennifer Locke, soon to be our clerk.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm here today, as you know, County Assistance in the Indigent Program, there's been a couple law changes over the last couple of years as it wraps up. And what we're trying to do right now is wrap up approved pending approvals and suspended cases that we've had on the books for a while. So during fiscal year 22, County Assistance budgeted $175,000, and the item under the Indigent County Assistance Ops under hospital, other health care, Kootenai health cost. And we ended up only utilizing $84,164, which left us to go back to fund balance $90,835. So as we're trying to wrap up those cases, we identified 10 that have been approved, still in suspension and approval that will bring, pending approval that will bring before the board. And I've been working with Pat, and I've also been working with Kat just to make sure that we wrap these up in time. The end goal is to try to get these cases before you by March and then have them paid out by June. So with that, fiscal year 23, we had budgeted $50,000 for that line item, and for us to wrap up those 10 cases, and I'm going to add just another $11,000 for cushion. We are the payer of last resort, and the most the county pays for these is $11,000, and then CAT picks up the rest. So I'm asking for that money to be transferred from fund balance to that line item.
I have a total of $71,000 coming.
Correct. There's $50,000 in the budget right now. Right now, I have identified 10 cases that we're likely going to pay on. I'm going to have one extra $11,000 just in case between a bankruptcy we're working on too. And then that money, if not utilized, will be returned back to fund balance at the end of the year.
Sure. Okay, you said the 11,000, I was adding it to 50,000, that didn't work, so I just wanted to clarify.
There's 50,000 in the budget, I'm asking for 71,000,
71,000.
which would get us approval of 11 cases if need be.
Yep. Okay, any questions? All right, motion?
I move that we approve the clerk's request to transfer funds, budget, fund balance from county assistance. Is that right?
Yeah, and I'll just mention 71,000.
It's out of fund balance, Fund 40 into the B budget of county assistance.
Yeah, Fund 40 to B budget.
I can figure it out.
All right.
So are we
Okay,
second?
second.
Okay. Commissioner Filios?
Aye.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you for waiting. Item 44, and this is Resolution 2022-109, FY22 Unanticipated Revenue Resolution, and we handle this every year. So our Finance Director, Brandy Falcon, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Brandy Falcon for the record. This is a resolution that we do every year as we close the prior fiscal year, and it is memorializing all of the revenue that received that was unanticipated. So this is revenue that was not part of our adopted budget, but that has been approved throughout the year by the board.
Grants and other.
Grants, fund balance usage,
Okay.
and then some other small items.
Okay. Questions? Motion?
I move that we approve Resolution 2022-109 for FY22 unanticipated revenue resolution for the auditor's office.
Second.
Commissioner Filios?
Aye.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye. And the Patience Award goes to Mr. David Reed, our Director for our Reprographics, who's handling item 45, Resolution 22-110, Save-In Duplicator, a 3590 DNP would be the model number, and this is a deletion, asset deletion. So, go ahead.
Yes, Commissioner David Reed, Reprographics Mail Center. This is a resolution to remove from our fixed assets our Save-In Duplicator. It has been replaced with a new one. This particular duplicator was bought in 2011. It is non-functioning and non-serviceable. So it's basically, there's no value whatsoever for any of the departments, so it'll be disposed of in our local solid waste department.
Okay. All right, questions, motion?
Big paperweight.
Very big one.
Exactly what I was thinking.
I move that we approve Resolution 22-110 for the Save-In Duplicator 3590 DNP deletion.
Second.
Commissioner Filios?
Aye.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye, motion passes. Thank you for your patience. Dave, we now have all the ratifying resolutions to the adjust taxes. Do you want them handled individually, or can we do this kind of in a group effort as long as the names and the resolution numbers, or do you need the AINs too? What say you?
Well, yeah, I looked at that a few seconds ago, and I think you can take them in groups.
Okay.
Just make the motion clear of what action that's being taken with respect to, I think you could just say the resolution number, because that'll also include the AIN number.
Okay.
That way things will go a lot faster.
Okay, thank you, because you're being very patient today as well. All right.
No problem.
And if you guys are okay, I'll handle some of these and.
Sure, just go on.
Okay, so items 46 through 49, I move that we approve and ratify resolution number 2022-89-90-92-93, which reflects the circuit breaker for those particular individuals, Kane, McWhirter, Nelson, Connor.
Second the motion.
Commissioner Filios?
Aye.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye, motion carries. Items 50 through 52, I move that we approve and ratify Resolution 2022-949596, which is adjust taxes to reflect VA tax reduction for McDonald, Moore, and Owens.
I second the motion.
Commissioner Filios?
Aye.
Bill Brooks?
Aye.
Chair Duncan?
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. And now we'll go from 53 to, Oh, good. It's just printed twice. 53 all the way to 56. And I move that we approve the request and ratify resolution numbers 20229809. And I'm wondering if that is a mistake, and that should be 99 there. And 100 along with 97. So 97, 98, 99, and 100. And these will reflect casualty loss for Porter, Macuth, Hetrick, and Krajak.
I second the motion.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Motion carries. Did you have two 54s on your list? Did you have 54 twice?
Not on my agenda.
Nope.
Okay. I'm just the lucky one. Okay.
And I'll double check on the 09 or 99.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. All right, we are just about done here. All right, we have items 57 and 58, and I move that we approve the request or ratify resolution number 2022-102-103, and this is adjusting taxes to reflect VA tax reduction for Giffen and Galletti.
I second the motion.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, motion passes. And our last one of this type is board approval request or ratification of resolution 2022-104. And this is waiving penalties and interest for RHD LLC on Esto.
I move that we.
Oh, I said it.
Oh, did you
I
say?
got it.
You said. Oh,
I did
moved.
it.
Okay.
Sorry.
I second the motion then.
Commissioner Filios,
Aye.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right. Motion carries. We are now into the pending item list and facilities expansion. We just approved the LCA updated contract to reflect the federal clauses that needed to be done. And that's all that goes there. Any questions on facilities expansion? All right. Hearing none. Impact fees.
I'm not going to take any action until after the holidays. It just doesn't make any sense to try to get appointments with people.
Okay. All right, Chris, any questions?
No, none for me. I'm fine.
All right, thank you. And as soon as I can find the end of my agenda, I will call for public comment. Hearing none. Longest meeting in record, 3:17, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thanks.